If you want to see me create my first look with the third quad in the monthly quad series, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène with another video, and I'm so pleased to bring you the first look that I will do on camera with the quad number 3 from the monthly quad series that I have on this channel. These 4 shadows are all from the Dare to Create 39A from Morphe, and it may very well be the last quad that is from only that palette because I've done a bunch of depotting. If you want to see some of the depotting I've done, I will put the playlist right here. I've done the Jaclyn Hill palette, of course the 39A because I have these shadows. I also have depotted Juvia's Place and also the Makeup Forever Artist Shadows 3. So all of those shadows plus any other singles that I have from Annabelle and Cleona will be making appearances in the quads that I create going forward. But I think that you will agree that these 4 shadows are quite different as per my explanation in the intro to this video, which I will post right here for your ease of reference. I cannot wait to get into this. And this morning I was looking at the shadows and I was debating back and forth which one to do. The look that I really want to do is the one with Create right here and Muse and what's this one? Stroke. And I have decided to leave that look for another day and to push myself right away to use Snatched, because Snatched it's a fiery orange, and even though oranges and greens and browns tend to look really good on my eye, this orange in particular is just a little bit out there for me. And I know for a fact I will end up doing a look with those 2 guaranteed. But today I just want to dabble into that orange and just get a feel for it because I want to understand it and figure out better how I can use it. And I really think that though this quad is very colorful, it's very usable. And I've been very excited to dip into it. As a matter of fact, I had this quad done when I introduced the second quad, which was the mostly blue quad. So, and again, I'm belaboring the point, but let's just get into it. I have all of my base makeup done, which I usually do when I do the eye look for a quad of the month. If you are not familiar with this channel, I am just going to point out that I do have some damage on my eye here from a couple of stitches I had to get. If you want the whole story on this, I'd have to get ready with me talking about it. I won't go over it. I just want to identify that I have covered up, but I have some bruising here still and the healing of the gash that I had right there. So if you see something funky on that eye, that is what's going on. And this is actually the first day where I have full eyeshadow on that eye with no exception, and so that's very exciting for me. Now, I also will be working with a limited number of eyeshadow brushes, and that is because I am testing out a bunch of brushes strictly from Smashbox with another couple of eyeshadow brushes from Quo, from another set of 5 that I am testing out. So I won't be using the brushes that I think are necessarily optimal for the look because, again, I'm trying to learn about these other brushes. I think I've done enough explanation. Let's just get into the shadows. I can't wait. All right, let me scooch forward and let's get into these. And I think I'm going to go with this fluffy double-ended brush from Smashbox, and this is the fluffy double-ended brush from the Shape Matters palette, if you're curious. And it's the Shape Matters palette that's kind of, it doesn't have another definition. It's because it has face and eye and brow products. And I'm going to go right into Stroke as my crease color of choice. It's really the only crease color. Well, I could use the fuchsia too as a crease color. in this palette, just putting it on the brush, going right into the crease. Whew, skipping, 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 lots of skipping. And a lot of coverage right off the get-go. All right, I'm going to go in and intensify it a little bit. But I'm going to turn my brush sideways, like not this way, but this way, so that I get further into the crease and don't apply too much shadow all over the place. And the base that I have, if you're curious, if you don't know what I use yet, it is the Vanilla, and today the Tonal shadows from the Smashbox Matte Exposure palette. That's what I have as a base on my eyes. Before getting into this one, I'm going to take that brown right up to the brow, just slightly on the inside. I've never used stroke before, and I have to say I like it. All of the shadows pretty much from the 39A Dare to Create that I've been using so far with the quads, I've never used before. And very often I'm using them for the first time on camera. And I'm going to take a little bit extra and go on the lower lash line very lightly because it is a very fluffy brush. A little bit of fallout there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other eye in fast forward. Okay, I think these two eyes are relatively even, as I do a little bit more on this one. Just going to soften up the outside on each side just before I go any further. And for that, in a previous video, I used this brush called the Blurring Concealer brush, but I find that it works well on the outside of the eye, just to soften things up a little bit. Okay, I think that works. Let's go in now with more of the stroke brown. And I want to deepen up the outer lid, first with the brown, and then I'll go in with some black as well to deepen up the brown. And for that, I'll be using a denser brush. And I'm going to be using the Full Coverage Shadow Brush, again from Smashbox. It's a set of 15 that I got a little while ago. This was actually back around Christmas time, either end of November or early December. And I have waited until now to try them out. And I do like the coverage on this brush, I have to say. Now that brush set I don't think is available anymore, but a lot of Smashbox brushes are available. So whether it's a set or not, they're still around. I went to the Smashbox site and just made sure that they had a lot of these types of brushes available, and they do. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'll do the other side and be right back. Okay, I have a little bit of fallout, but nothing major. And I think I have enough brown. I'll deepen it up just one more time, and then we'll go into the black. Okay, now we're going to go into the black. Like I said, I had Stroke, and now I'm going into Muse. It's a very nice matte black. As a matter of fact, if you want to see the swatches for these, just take a look at that intro video, and you will be able to see what they look like individually, just on their own. So I've got still some brown on the brush, but that's okay because I'm trying to blend these colors. Going right into the black, and I have to be very careful not to put too much on the brush. And we're going to go very nicely, starting in the crease and going on to the lid. Woo. Just very nicely here. Just blending in, blending in. I may have to go back and forth between the two. We will see. I'm going to go back into that fluffier brush that I used for the crease brush and just kind of bring it out and over all through the crease. So I'm not trying to get a black outer lid, I'm trying to deepen the brown. So I'm going to go back and forth between the black and the brown with this smaller brush. I went a little bit too far in with the black. There we go. And again in with the mixture of brown and black. I'm just going back and forth between the two colors. And I'm going to take that same dense brush and go with the mixture again, just really as tightly as I can on the lower lashes. And again, softening up the outside with that bigger fluffy concealer brush. This guy. Okay, I think I have this eye done. I'm going to recreate what I have on this eye on my right eye and be right back. All right, I evened out the two eyes. I think they look pretty similar. And I'm going to take my big fluffy Quo brush. This is another brush that I am testing out. It's just a very, very fluffy powder brush. I'm going to just wipe off the kick up that I have. Not the kick up, the fallout. Especially it being black fallout, I don't want it to stay on my skin too long, just in case I have anywhere that has a little bit of oiliness around my nose that happens. And I think I got all of it, so we're good. We are now going into more color. And as you know, I am going to go in with Snatched, this bad boy right there. And I'm very excited. And it's going to go in the, on the inner to center lid. And I'm going to, for that purpose, use a precision brush and my pinky to get the color exactly where I want it. So for that purpose, I'm going to use my pinky, and I'm also going to try a brush that I'm very excited about, but I haven't tried yet, which is the Multitasking Detail Brush. Just make sure that you can see it properly. It's triangular in shape, and it looks really neat. If I haven't put it up yet, I will put that brushes video right here where I introduce each one of the brushes and what I think about it initially, if you're curious about makeup brushes in general or Smashbox brushes specifically. All right, let me get right into this one. And like I said, I'm not promoting these brushes. I'm saying I'm trying them out. I don't know enough about them at this point to say whether they're good or bad or otherwise. All right, going right in with Snatched, and I think I'm going to use my finger first. I was going to use the brush, but that's not what I usually do. So I'm going to use the finger first, get a little bit on my finger, and in we go. I've never used this shadow before. And I did say in the intro video that it is a little bit tacky feeling, which I think is going to be good for staying in place on the inner lid. And the swatch I did with it was pretty prominent, so I'm hoping that it builds nicely. I was able to get some really good color. And I've done red on the inner lid before, and it turned into one of the most beautiful looks that I've done on this channel. I'll put a picture of it right there because it ended up being my profile picture because I loved it so much. And if you're curious about the shadows that I used in that look, they were from the Linda Hallberg collection, or Hallberg. Some people will anglicize her name, a Hallberg. And she had a quad called the Metallics, and it really did, it didn't end up being my favorite of the collection of hers that I tried, but it was definitely a solid quad, just a little on the expensive side. That's the only thing. If you're curious about that one, if I have any cards left, I'll put that how was it video if you want to see it. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm going to go in a little bit more precision on the inner lid with this brush, and we'll see just how far on the lid we go with it afterwards. Okay, I don't like how it's picking up on the brush. I don't know if it's the shadow or the brush at this point. Might be both, I don't know. That's weird. I seem to be getting more intensity, and I don't know if it's because I'm applying more shadow or if it's better to apply this shadow with a brush, which would be a first for me. So I'll try to see if the finger will recreate the amount of shine that I'm seeing higher up in the crease, and just see if, oh yeah, it's just because I didn't have enough shadow. Okay. And I'm doing a little bit more dragging motions than patting motions, and trying to overlap with the browny black, but trying to fade into the brown. And I might have to go back and forth a little bit on that. But it certainly is a punch of color, isn't it? I'm going to go in a little bit more with the brush along the upper lid. And I mean, it's almost like This brush is giving me enough precision to almost look like a cut crease. And let's say almost, it's not quite, but it's up there. I'm okay with this. I think it looks pretty good. I think I'm going to go back in with a little bit of brown and go back and forth between the snatched and the, what's it called, snatched and stroke, back and forth to just get the center lid exactly the way I want it. Okay, that was easier than I thought. That's all that took. I like the way it is right now. And I'm going to go to the other eye and replicate it and in fast forward, and then we'll see what we do next. Okay, I think I am happy with how this look has turned out so far. I do want to mention something about Snatched, that really colorful inner lid. I mentioned earlier that it was kind of tacky. It has some stickiness to it. And one thing that I noticed in doing both inner lids is that I have to be very careful to go in with a clean finger, meaning that if I've gone into the brown or the black at all, what it does is it muddies up the color of Snatched. So it's really important to go in with a clean brush or clean finger every time you want to intensify that orangey shimmer. But when I look at the result now, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it doesn't look half bad. And now I just want to finish up the look. I think the brow bone is light enough. That was the vanilla color from the Smashbox Matte Exposure, so I won't change that. I think that the lower lash line is smoky enough. It looks fine there. I'll take care of a little fallout right there. Oh, and I do have to mention too that Snatched gets everywhere. I mean, you want to go in with a clean finger, but you also want to wipe off your fingers as quickly as you can once you're done applying, if you do apply with the fingers. And I wonder how much this brush is going to be stained by the color. just because it is very pigmented. But apart from that, I'm ready to do liner and mascara and finish up the look for you. So I did pick out a few things to finish up the look. Now I do have the Annabelle Black is Black, and I had it already on my upper waterline before starting this look. And it is a very nice, very quick applying black, and it is waterproof. So again, I'll just intensify the waterline with that. And I'm also thinking of using Alkaline. And Alkaline is kind of a burgundy, almost fuchsia color from Urban Decay, and I was thinking of using that on the lower lash line. Actually, I think I will try it at least on the lower waterline, and if it's a good match to the Snatched, I may go and do the lower lash line as well. If I'm not convinced, I will either use Demolition, another glide-on pencil that I really like from Urban Decay, or we'll go back to the Annabelle. And I will also be using the Monsieur Big Mascara by Lancôme. It is one of my top 2 favorite mascaras of all time so far. And yeah, I'll do all of those things and tell you what I did when I come back. See you shortly. All right, here is the finished look. Let me show you everything I used, other than, of course, what we already talked about. I did use the Annabelle Black is Black on my upper waterline. I also went along the upper lash line here, trying not to go too far in to reduce the impact of the Snatched color. I think that worked out. I did use Alkaline on my lower waterline and did not go too far beyond that because I felt like the smokiness of the brown and black under on my lower lid was sufficient, so I didn't go beyond that. I did touch up as well my eyebrow here, my right, your left, just because it looked a little goofy. I went in with the Monsieur Big, as I mentioned. I did mostly my upper lash line and did a tiny bit on my lower lashes. It is, like I said, a very favorable mascara for me. It's one of my favorites. Top 2, like I said. What I did have on my lips earlier in the video was this NARS Bound Velvet Glide. And it's a very nice color, but I didn't think it went so much with Snatched. Just going to give you a swatch here so you can see what it is. It just didn't really call for a mauve lip. I think if I had used the other one, which is Create, the fuchsia color, I think that would have been fine, but I did go with Snatched. So I switched up and went for the Lancôme Juicy Tubes, which is a gloss that I am trying to use up. And it's kind of an orangey gloss, as you could see from the tube, and I think it's flattering. I think it goes with the eye look, and I'm happy with that. For anything else that is on my face, please take a look at the description box below. I list every single thing that I use in the day, including my morning skincare. And that's it. That is my first look with the 3rd quad in this 2019 Quad of the Month series. And yes, we are in April, and I'm talking about the 3rd quad, which should be in March, but I'm still playing catch up. Hopefully in the next 2 quads, we'll be back to going 1 month for each quad, and I started a little late, so my bad, but we will get to 12 quads by the end of the year, I assure you. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.